Tonight's episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. Algonquin Outfitters, with 5 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Salis Marine, keeping you safe on the water since 1999. Ostrom Outdoors, custom fit canoe packs and barrel harnesses. Badger Paddles, handcrafted canoe paddles made to order. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. Well, happy Tuesday evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show. My name is Dennis, also known as Canoehound, and if this is your first time joining us here on this fine platform, thanks very much for spending some Tuesday night with us. You know what? We got a great show lined up for you tonight. But before we do get there, and we're going to allow the chat over there to get populated, get all our friendly peeps in there, the whole community. Let's have a little hug fest going on and have ourselves a great evening tonight. Let's see here. For those of you that might be new to the channel, we are live here every Tuesday evening, or for the most part, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we usually run from about 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So hopefully you have yourselves a nice hot beverage, cold beverage, or whatever type of beverage you partake in. By your side there, you know, maybe your feet are up watching on TV, or you're sitting at your desk watching on a computer. Regardless, we're going to have a good time tonight, and let's make the best of it. If you are watching at a later time for like a rebroadcast, or if you're listening on YouTube Music, by all means, feel free to skip ahead about maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and you could skip the actual announcement part of the show here. Maybe get right into the meat and potatoes and what we're going to be having as guests tonight. So, by all means, you can do that. Let's see here. Getting started with a few news, a little bit of news and updates. Our last episode, I didn't have an episode last week per se because we pretty busy with the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show, where I spent the entire weekend. Got to see a lot of friendly faces out there. Got to meet some new people that I don't regularly meet that are in the chat over there. It's nice to put some faces to the names. And it was a really, really good weekend. But out of it there, I come out of it not feeling good. I actually come out of it with COVID. So, yeah, it was a bit of a rough week there, for a few days anyways after the show itself. But we're all through it. We're good. We're good. Just still a little congested up here, but that's not a problem. But yeah, man, getting COVID still sucks. It's like 4 days of like yuckies, right? So that's not a good thing. But we're back to normal, man, and we are rocking. If you happen to miss the last episode that we actually had of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, that would have been not last Tuesday, but the Tuesday before. We were joined by Ryan O'Connor from the Paddler Co-op, and we talked about all kinds of great things, what they offer at Paddler Co-op, and about all kinds of whitewater stuff. It was a really fun evening. We also discussed an initiative that they have going on right now where they're raising funds to purchase the property where they're located, because the property is going for sale. And if they don't purchase it, Paddler Co-op may no longer exist. So if you happen to miss that episode, by all means, please go back and check it out. Find out about what they're doing to raise funds for Paddler Co-op, so that they can actually purchase the property and they could keep the dreams alive, keep the adventures alive when it comes to instructions and giving instruction to how to whitewater paddle. You know what? It's a very valuable service that they offer there, and I think it's well worth keeping it going. So please do check it out, and if you can, help out in whatever way you can, whether it's a donation or whatever else they might be looking for. But by all means, please do check them out at paddlercoop, I think .com or .ca, but you'll find it. It's easy to find. Next week's show, I'm just going to give you all the heads up that there will not be an episode next week. I'm headed out. I leave Thursday night there, where me and a few buddies are driving down to Canoecopia in Wisconsin. and we won't be leaving there until like Monday morning, and it's not going to give me enough time to get a show prepared for next Tuesday. So we will be taking a bit of time off, but you know what? That's a great opportunity for you to go back and maybe watch that episode on Paddler Co-op or any other past episodes that you may have missed. We have 153 of them. You know, there's a lot to go. But we will be returning with a couple of really fantastic shows when we do come back. On March 19th, we will be having a show on spring ice out canoe tripping. If I could say ice out, I don't know how much ice is up north right now, but really we'll be talking about spring canoe trip planning or backcountry camping. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And that should be a good show. We'll have a nice little panel on here discussing, giving all kinds of tips, sharing all kinds of ideas on how to get out there and stay warm, because it can still be quite cool at this time of the year. And then on the 26th, we're going to be joined by quite the panel of YouTubers and people here. We're going to be talking with Jim Baird, Keenan and Ashley from Canoe the North, Art Karts Halconia. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm really horrible at last names sometimes. And then, of course, Mike from Up North Adventures up in the Yukon. The show's going to be on the allure of paddling in the Yukon. So many people are doing it now. So many people are adding it to their bucket list of adventures to take on, hopefully in the future, including this guy here. So it should be a fun evening there. We'll be talking and learning all about paddling up in the Yukon and what makes it such an attraction these days, because so many people are actually doing it. With all that being said there, time for me to recognize and thank my channel members. These are the people that really, really help out this channel by being channel members. It helps to support the channel and helps to offset a lot of the costs that we actually incur with this stuff. And then once in a while, once I save enough, it also allows me to have a little bit of funny money to go to these outdoor shows like Canoecopia and stuff like that. So thank you very much to all these people floating across the bottom of the screen. Your friendship and your memberships really do mean a lot, but it's really just great having you be a part of the channel. Let's see here. We do have a couple people who have purchased me coffees, bought me coffees or beers or whatever you want to call it this week. Thanks once again to our good friends, Beauty of the Backcountry, and of course Steve Pogue for your beer, whiskey, whatever contributions that you guys are sending for. But thanks very much. Let's take a dip. All right. Somebody was asking me about this cup. What the little, let's take a dip. This is if you take a close look there, there's actually a little Canoe Hound logo on the paddle over there. So that's the only thing with that. This mug is, it's got a little touch of Canoe Hound, but I just like that. For those of you that don't know, that's like the map of Ontario with a picture in it. Right. Cool. Anyway, I'm rambling on here. Just going. We do have some birthday wishes there that I would like to get out there as well. Our good friend Marty Morissette, who's been a channel, or not a channel member, he's been on the show as a guest on a couple of occasions. He's celebrating a birthday on March the 2nd. Camper Christina is celebrating her birthday on March the 9th. I think that'll be happening down at Canoecopia. We might have to have a shot or a toast to Camper Christina down there at Canoecopia. And then, of course, channel member Joe Burley and also Mark from Backcountry Paddler. They celebrated birthdays on February 28th. So happy birthday to all of you, both belated and upcoming. If anybody has a birthday wish that they'd like to share, or an engagement, or anything happy, or heck, you know what? It might even be a divorce announcement. You never know. If that makes you happy, what the heck? But by all means, just drop me an email here at canoehound@gmail.com. Be more than happy to share it with everybody, and just spread the love. Got to spread the love. And then, of course, a couple other things that this email address right here comes in handy for. If you have any guests or topics that you would like to see on the show, or like to see us cover, please by all means drop me an email, and we will see if we can make it happen. Sometimes people come in with ideas that we've already covered in the past, and I'll direct them. I'll send them the video to let them know that they can actually watch that, because we've covered the topic. So by all means, if you have ideas, please help this guy give you what you want to see. Well, you know what? I think that's pretty much it as far as announcements go. Let's see here. With that being said, I think we should just get into tonight's guests and get to learn a little bit more about them. But before I do, for those of you that are watching on YouTube and you have access to the chat on YouTube, if you take a look up at the top of the chat there, you'll see I got a poll going right now. So far, we've got like 78 votes on there. Wow! And I'm just asking, Team Maxim, Team Xander, or they're both awesome. And you know what? Right now, I see they're both awesome to 67% in the far lead. That's awesome. So that's great. Feel free to check that out. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up for the show. And if you haven't already done so, because only 50% of you, according to my YouTube records, are subscribers to this channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, please, come on, let's see if we can hit 6,700 subscribers by tonight. That would be awesome. Okay, without further ado, let's get into meeting tonight's guests. Tonight we're joined by two brothers who have a long history of backcountry adventures. Now they're both making a big impact on the YouTube community. Their differing styles of capturing their trips make for enjoyable viewing. Please welcome to the live stream. We have Maxim and his sidekick Xander. Hey, boys, how you doing?
Hello. What's going on?
You shot an introduction that I have. I wrote it on the thumbnail, one promo thumbnail. And I got so many comments about that, about supposedly Maxim being your sidekick. So I thought I'd just.
Did you write that, Dennis? That was really well written.
That was interesting.
That was really kind of you to say all those nice things about us.
And that's why I had it in quotes, right?
Thank you.
That didn't come from this guy. That's why I asked you to write your own bio.
No, we didn't.
So what's new, boys? You guys just got back from a really cool little expedition up north. Anybody care to talk about that?
Yeah. Go. So this was Maxim's idea. Like he came up with, he wanted to drive north. There was a few ideas in mind. One was going to Moose Factory on the ice roads. One was going to Northern Ontario on another ice road, and then the third one was driving up the James Bay Road in northern Quebec up to Chisasibi. And if like a lot of people aren't aware, but all the islands in James Bay are technically Nunavut. So while it's impossible to drive to Nunavut via the road network, because there's no roads that actually enter the territory, you're able to get to, like technically Nunavut via these tiny little islands just off the shore of Quebec. So we made a video of us. This was like 2 weeks ago, or not even, of us driving up to Chisasibi and then over into some of the islands of James Bay.
You're only saying half of it, because then we did the Trans-Taiga Road.
Oh yeah.
So there's basically, I'm in the process of figuring out if it's one or two videos for myself. I'm just kind of going through the footage. Xander's going to definitely make two videos. One's the driving to Nunavut, and the other one's the Trans-Taiga Road. And both were phenomenal experiences. I mean, once you actually, it actually feels like Nunavut. Once you get out on the ice, you get these barren, just desolate rocks. The wind, it was like -30 and the wind was howling, and it was just so beautiful. I was just so thrilled to get out there. It felt like the Arctic, other than, back behind us, like a very faint tree line. That was the only thing to indicate that we weren't in the subarctic, but that we were in the subarctic and not in the Arctic. But it was a really special experience for me, especially that, I've been, I say this in my video, but I've been looking at James Bay and Hudson Bay my whole life as having a map of Canada on my wall as a kid. And just imagining myself go down all those rivers and, knowing about the history of Hudson's Bay Company and, the history of the Cree people there. And this, the feeling of like, it's kind of like both remote, but also central to the story of Canada. It's like, it's kind of inaccessible. And, I felt there was unfinished business last time we went to the Missinabie River, and we never actually saw the bay itself. Xander probably feels the same way. So it was just really nice to kind of get out on the bay. I've never been there before. Yeah, and it was a lot less monotonous than I thought it would be. It was really interesting. I was afraid it was going to be monotonous, but it was really cool.
Yeah, the drive was beautiful. I think we drove 69 hours total there and back, and yeah, funny, it rounded up pretty nicely, but
on the dot.
yeah, on the dot, like back home. And yeah, it was beautiful. Max drove probably 85% of the time. We actually teamed up with Toyota. They threw us in the new 2024 Tacoma. And if you guys know what I drive like a 25-year-old car. So having, you know, this brand new Tacoma was sweet.
Xander's looking for a new car right now. You just my
Toyota's pooched. She's on the way out. Like
I think it's more so that, you know, we drove that car and I was like, oh man, like I was skeptical of all the new features at first, you know, like the cruise control and all, because, you know, like things break, right? You know, I'm more I like simplicity, but the features were really nice.
Oh, sick. So sick. Yeah.
Xander, I've seen how you drive. I seen your breakdown video there driving up.
Oh yeah, I need
driving down
like,
the wrong road, right?
Right. I need something like really reliable and foolproof, and I thought that's what I got with my 4Runner. And it's just like it is old, and you know, rust is starting to get to it. And you know, when I bought it, it looked pristine, like not pristine, but like it looked pretty good. But everybody was like, "Don't buy it." I'm like, you know, I went with my heart as opposed to my brain, as I normally do. And
I can attest, there was a lot of family pushback to Xander. And he went with his heart. And I felt that I thought that the car was the right purchase for Xander in the sense that like that car had Xander's name on it. Unfortunately, it also had thousands upon thousands of dollars of bills attached.
Yeah, it was just too expensive. I mean, if I bought that truck from somewhere in the States, or like out west, I'm sure it would be in better condition. But you know, when I bought it, I didn't the rust kind of just like came out of nowhere. I checked the chassis over, had it like looked at. Yeah, it's just kind of it's kind of at the point of no return, unfortunately. And I need something that's reliable.
Build overlanding vehicles on that platform. A lot of guys really love that particular vehicle.
Yeah, I know, it's sweet. I mean, the issue is that in Canada, it's like the rust, right? The rest that we have.
Yeah.
So,
well, so how does it come about that you get a thing going with Toyota and they throw you a truck to use for such a, like, you know, I'm sure they had to know that you're going to put it through its paces, because the road up there is not a paved road, obviously, right?
No, it was paved. It's actually a beautiful road. It's like really smooth and nice. Yeah, because of the massive hydroelectric infrastructure they have there for. Because they power something like 50 or 60% of Quebec with James Bay project. Maxim knows a lot more about this than I do. But the road system is great.
People forget that the James Bay project, it was a proper mega project, like a proper mega project that, you know, dams an enormous amount of area, and and it was controversial how much hunting grounds it flooded, pre-traditional hunting grounds, particularly on the La Grande River. And so there's like a series of dams, and that's where the Trans-Taiga also facilitates that, like get people getting to the hydro dams and whatnot. But it was the James Bay Road is paved and the Trans-Taiga is not. But it's some serious infrastructure up there. Really interesting place.
Oh yeah, so Jim Baird hooked us up with the Toyota contact, and they threw me in a prototype. So they didn't care if it got a little beat up, because they don't need to, you know, deal with it after. They're not trying to sell it. They're actually going to crush that car. So I suggested to them, I'm like, hey, like once you like give it to all the people you need to give it to, send it back to me. I'll drive it up some cliffs. I'll drive them down some cliffs, you know, like run it through its paces, and, you know,
don't crush it.
Yeah.
Have you seen my Toyota? Don't crush that thing.
Yeah, I know, it's so sad, but that's what they got to do it, because it's like, I don't know, whatever.
Cool. Well, you know what? I don't want to give away too many secrets there for videos that are coming up. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you both come up with for that.
Saturday.
And I've always said, and I said this a million times, I love watching collaborative videos like this, even though like your brothers, obviously, and you're both going to have your own perspective of videos. Like I've watched some of your adventures together in the past and really enjoyed both perspectives, because, you know, Maxim's editing style is totally different than yours is, Xander. So it's pretty cool to get two plays on the same thing, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
getting to see the guy.
This project will be way different. Mine's cut down to like 20 minutes. It's like really short. And I hope Max kind of goes a different route than mine.
Yeah, Xander's going to get his I have the benefit of seeing Xander's video potentially flop, so I can not make those decisions.
No, this video is going to be real good. I'm really happy with this one. It's got a good concept. I got the thumbnail, I got the title, and then the intro is fun. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm really, really into this video. It's not like a normal, just like, oh, I go out into the woods. It's like, there's like structure to it that I don't normally play with. It's maybe a little different than what I normally do, but yeah. No, I think it's going to play well. I'm super excited.
Those are videos, Xander does this way more than I do. But for the YouTube format, the best videos are where there's a concept prior to it, right? Like in the thumbnail and the title are already conceived of. Like, I don't do this. It's the principles that I don't follow, but this was a good video for that, where like the idea, the thumbnail and the title were already conceived of before the video was made. And that kind of, especially with editing, that kind of focuses everything and it makes it way easier. My video is like that. Right now my video is a mess. I'm trying to pull it together, see what it is. But Xander's concept was cleaner, and I'm trying to do something slightly different as well. So make it a little bit longer.
So you're both good storytellers when it comes to it, but yeah, like I say, your editing styles are totally different. That you could definitely see a difference between the two. Yeah,
thanks. Yeah. That's gonna be sweet, man. I was just looking at some drone shots that we took when we were actually like on the island. I'll just give it away. We got there, but pretty cool. Well, I give it away in the beginning of the video. The video starts, we're on the island. I'm like, oh, we're here. But I shot some drone shots, and it's just like me panning back as the sun's just set and the tent's illuminated, the hot tent's illuminated, and the wind is just whipping, right? And we're on this like scraggly rock in the middle of James, not quite the middle of James Bay, but it's looking out to James Bay. We're like 4 or 5 kilometers off the shore, and we're in the middle of nowhere. It's like, it's really cool. You don't see that very often, if ever, on these camping videos. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Are we going to see any adversity out there? Did you run into any issues? Is there anything that you don't have to share, but yes or no would do? Did everything go pretty smoothly?
Yeah, we were concerned about polar bears. That was like, I kind of, my concept going in, I was, I put polar bears as like a threat at the beginning of my video in like a funny way. And we brought our gun and stuff, and
he plays it up in a funny way.
I play it up in a funny way, yeah.
You'll see in the video too. He has a funny infographic as well, which I find absolutely hilarious.
That's cool.
We should just show it right now. It's like almost done. Oh my god, can't wait to show it.
Let's say I don't want to give away too much, because I don't even want a spoiler for myself. So that's good. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you both on the show here tonight was to talk a little bit about the early days of Xander and Maxim, a lot of your early canoe tripping experience that the two of you had. And that was kind of stemmed by another channel that Xander has. I'm not sure if many of you know, but Xander's got a secondary channel on YouTube called Canoe Daddy. It's Xander Budnick too, right?
Xander Budnick. I just changed it to Canoe Daddy just for fun. And I kind of forgot about it, but it'll probably go back to Xander Budnick too. Or maybe it'll say it's Canoe Daddy. I don't know.
I didn't even know that you call this Canoe Daddy. When did you make this change? I'm surprised.
I just punched it in. It's my second channel, so I can just mess around with it.
So I was watching YouTube one day, and I come across this video, and it was of a young Xander. Well, Xander was taking the approach of doing sort of like a commentary type of video.
Oh yeah,
and
commentating on my first
type of video on one of their previous trips back when Xander and Maxim were like a lot younger. So it was a trip on the Mizunabie River. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then maybe we'll get into some of the earlier stuff that you guys may have done.
Yeah. Okay. So Max was always the idea guy. He always had the inspiration. I take no credit. Max was always like, "Oh, I want to do the Mizunabie River. I want to do this trip and this trip," and I was like, "Okay, I'll come." I was the tag along.
Xander's really good. Like Xander is the easiest guy to be. Like there's no when there's an adventure. In the past, he's getting better with logistics now, like much better. But he's the easiest person to be like, all right, let's go. Like it's as simple as that. Like Xander is ready. Like there's a very little. Xander's very uncomplicated when it comes to having somebody come with you, and he's always been like that. So he's always made a good partner. Dare I say sidekick? Just kidding.
Yeah, no, Max was always the idea guy. I'm like, yeah, sweet, let's do it. Like no thought, no, like, and I don't even know what we're really doing until we're like kind of in it, and I learn as I go. I still kind of carry that to this day where I'm just like, I don't really fully know what I'm doing until I'm kind of halfway through it. But this year I'm actually planning ahead. I have like 6 trips already planned, which is like so new for me.
It's strange. Yeah. Actually, both of us are like, we're actually thinking about the year before it actually happens,
Yeah. I'm pumped actually. I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
So
wait, back to Misnabi, right? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So you were on this trip, you were with 2 other buddies, I'd imagine. Or were they family members or buddies?
The Justins, no, they were just Maxim's friends.
He was Justin Partridge is like one of my oldest friends, and we were living together in university at the time. And I actually give credit. Like I was pointing at a map on the wall, and I said I was looking at the Misnabi, and I said I really want to do this map, and he was just saying, "Let's do it." And then so that trip it was the first time we'd ever done a river trip. We'd never done anything, and so I went. Me and Justin went and got a river, like a whitewater lesson at the Elora Gorge. And then the idea was we'll just teach Xander and the other Justin how to do whitewater on the go, right? and so, yeah, it was beautiful. The best trips are really when you jump in the deep end, and that was definitely one of them. It's hard to do that sometimes, but yeah, it just was set up that way. There's so many unknowns, and we were just so inexperienced, particularly for river travel. And it just kind of turned out really well, and not without a few failures, and we can talk about that.
I get a kick out of early day canoe trips. Like I think about back to my early days of canoeing too, and some of the gear that I used and the food that we ate. And you guys are living off like Nutella and peanut butter.
Oh yeah,
salami and stuff, right?
Salami and Nutella.
A bunch of stuff went bad. Like we were actually, luckily, we made a catamaran, and we made the trip like almost a week shorter than our long-ended projection, because we just had an amazing tailwind.
Yeah, 70K in one day I think was like the best we did. Something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
incredible. Yeah, it was really
so much fun.
We went off a rapid too in the catamaran, Deception Rapid.
It's like a class 2, and it just like the waves just build up, and it was,
class 2, man. I think it was more of like a class 3 drop. I could be wrong about that, but it was a pretty hefty drop.
Yeah, it was.
Like I remember, because the only reason we didn't flip was because
we were tied together.
We were tied together.
Mm.
And, I remember the bow of the canoe actually going underwater, and us avoiding a rock. That was not meant to be. And we kept on sailing right out of it. I loved it. We were all on a high afterwards. It was beautiful. We were all, because we were going so fast that we didn't even realize like where on the map we were. And there's a Deception Rapids for a reason, because it's just, I guess it just, you see the rest of the river, but you don't really see this drop off. And we were on it too quick. We were actually cooking on our stove in the catamaran, and then we're like, wait a minute, there's whitewater up there.
We're like, oh, what's this one? We look at the map. Oh, Deception Rapids. It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah. That was fun. I mean, I wouldn't do it again that way, but now that we did it, it was.
No, I'd do it again that way. That was awesome.
Sometimes it's like what you don't know won't kill you, right? Well, sometimes it might, but sometimes it won't, right? So
it could have been bad. Like, I mean, like in terms of just, we would have figured it out, and none of us would have died. But it could have been messy for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought the cool thing about watching that video too is like just watching like the early days of like a Xander Budnick edit, right? Which
Yeah.
is totally. It's like one of my edits nowadays. Just rough. Obviously, the camera gear is not up to snuff as to what it is nowadays, right? But was that the only video that you cut back then, or were there other trips where you actually recorded stuff and thought about putting out?
So I kind of talked about it on Jim's podcast a little bit, and like I only reflected on it fairly recently, but there were like I in my 20s, like in university, I did an exchange in Singapore, but I like backpacked quite a bit. And I also lived in China for a while, and I filmed a lot of those trips and took photos and stuff. But I had this like insecurity in me that I thought that was the type of content that I was creating was like not wanted. And I was very unsure of myself back then. So most of that stuff never saw the light of day. And I was just like, I don't know, I had a couple cool trips that I did. Like Mount Fuji came out, but Mount Kinabalu never came out. Like I remember standing at the bottom of Mount Kinabalu, which is like the tallest mountain in Southeast Asia. It's in the Malaysian part of Borneo. I remember like after filming that whole thing, I was just like standing all by myself, like, I don't know, somewhere in the city. Nobody was around me. And it was just like talking to the camera, and I was like trying to sign out, but I was just like fully self-doubting myself. So there was a big like lull in the content that I made. And then there's many years of me just like experimenting with other stuff until I came full circle on canoe tripping when Max invited me on a winter camping trip, and that video blew up like relatively. And then I was like, this is it. I found it, you know? And then the next year, Max was the idea guy. He's like, let's do the Spanish River. Let's do Tomagami. Let's do, I don't know what else we did that year, but we did a bunch of trips. Let's do the Petawawa.
We did Spanish, Spanish,
Madawaska. I did the mag that year actually, but I never did the rapids.
We squeezed the Petawawa in at the end, but we didn't do rollway. We just kind of did all the fairly non-consequential rapids. But it was kind of getting late in the season, and the water was cold, so it wasn't a bad decision to skip rollway.
So judging by the amount of canoe tripping that you two do, like modern day, or even like back when about the time that Mizunami video come out, let's get back into a bit of the history. Like what got you guys into doing this? Were mom and dad like back or front country campers? Did you get that feel for it that way, or how did it come about?
That's a bit of a bewildering question to me. Like I don't know. Like I had a wanderlust, like very, very bad. I had just this urge to see the world and get out. And that manifested itself in a lot of different ways over the years. And we watched a lot of travel shows when we were younger, Lonely Planet in particular.
Yeah.
With Ian Wright. He was a inspiration.
Huge inspiration.
Yeah, so canoe tripping was always there. And I always loved the outdoors, and I loved the challenge of doing that. But for me, it really kind of like started, like I started getting ambitious with canoe tripping, in high school, I would say, where I started to think that, I can do this river. Like this is something that I can, this is something that I can do. I can go to all these remote places, and I'm trying to give you an answer. I'm trying to figure it out for myself while I'm speaking. I probably should have figured this out beforehand, but I don't know. Like I just, what compels you to want to climb a mountain, right? It's just there. I've always wanted to. I'm the kind of guy who fundamentally wants to fill in parts of the map. So I'll drive 5 minutes out of my way or 10 minutes out of my way just to go a different route home. almost always.
Mhm.
And I get great satisfaction out of that. And especially when it comes to a river, a blue line on the map, that just gives me great satisfaction. And this last trip was like that, being able to see the coming from the Carolinian forest through the mixed forest into the boreal forest into the taiga, and get a little bit of a feel for the tundra. That's hugely satisfying, and I've always had that sort of need to fill space in on the map. That's a long-winded and unsatisfactory answer.
No, you know what? It kind of makes sense because, like I say, a lot of people will get into, they get into the outdoors because they camp with mom and dad, or they were in Boy Scouts when they were a kid, or Girl Guides, or whatever it may be, and you never know what direction people have taken to get to where we're at now. The type of adventures that we take in, and that's pretty cool because. Although when I when I was a kid, my parents, we camped, we did family camping with a camper and the old canvas tent and stuff like that. But it was me and a buddy who decided one day, hey man, let's try and do a canoe trip, right? And I've told the story a million times. You can go read about it in my about section on my website. But yeah, it's sometimes the direction that gets you into doing what you do. You never know. You fall into it, just like a profession, right? Sometimes, how'd you become doing this? It's like, oh, I don't know, it just happened.
It's
Right?
really liberating to understand, and especially there's an age there, 14 through 16, where you start to really understand the power of your own. Like you can go places by you can do things at your own free will. I'm having a difficult time articulating it. I remember my first adventure, like my first real river adventure, was actually walking down the Bronte Creek from our hometown in Carlisle all the way to Lake Ontario. And that was kind of a revelatory experience for me, just because I remember walking down there, walking through that, and just thinking, this is paradise, close to my home, right? What other hidden what other hidden gems are there nearby? That's kind of tucked away in these little ravines, and yeah, that yeah, it just progressed that way, I guess.
So is it safe to assume, Xander, you followed in Maxim's footsteps when it come to adventuring, or did you get into it a different way yourself?
A little bit of a different way. Max definitely took the reins in a lot of cases. I think when we were younger, my mom was very so my mom did like lots of front country camping.
We have to give her a little credit.
Yeah. So she like when Max turned 16, my mom had a lot of air miles. So she gifted my brother and I, my brother, plane tickets to Costa Rica for his birthday so we can go backpacking. And I was 15 and I was like his liaison to make sure that he was not getting in any trouble. And we ended up like hiking through the national park there and almost getting lost in the jungle, and like camping out in some that's cool. That's maybe something I should talk about on my second channel. But yeah, and then the next year we did Cuba backpacking, and then my mom took us front country camping to it started with like Temagami, then we did a cross Canada trip to BC and back, and then we did a cross USA trip. So that's in my blood, like the car camping thing. Like that's like I love that stuff because of what my mom showed us when I was in my teens. And then through, I think even like early life, like we went to day camp in Halliburton Forest, and there was canoe tripping involved. In high school, there was canoe tripping. I think I did a few canoe trips there. My dad only took us on one, I believe, or maybe more, but my dad wasn't really big in it camping, but we had our cottage.
We went 2 influential trips for sure. It was 2 trips.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that was a part of it too. A little bit of here and there, and then
he wasn't dialed in enough to make it easy. That was always his issue. Like he didn't camp enough to, if you don't camp very often, you don't have all your gear, and you don't have the barrels, and organizing a bunch of people, it was always a huge issue. So he was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But yeah, he brought us on 2 influential trips for sure. The small trips, like the Poker Lakes and in the Frost Center.
Yeah, you know what? That's an outing, right? It doesn't matter where it is. It's still an outing. Yeah. That's pretty cool because, like I say, everybody has their own direction as to getting to where they are nowadays, right? It's a journey. Life is a journey. And I think that's cool that your mom actually sent the 2 of you down to Costa Rica on a backpacking.
Yeah, she's badass like that.
Miles.
Yeah, she's hilarious. She's awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I think that's also a testament to I was very persistent as well. I had a real hunger to travel, get out, and do things. My uncle also took me. My uncle, in his kindness, took me and all my brothers at different times back to Germany to see the German side of the family, but also just tour around a little bit. It was like a 2-week trip, and he's asked, "Oh, where do you want to go?" And in my 16-year-old innocence, I said, "Oh, I want to go here, here, here." Like I had half of Europe marked off, and we of course we saw one place or 2 places. I didn't have any sense of how many things you could see, but that's a good example of my mentality at the time. I was very hungry. And my mom saw that, and she sent Xander with me just so I didn't get in trouble. For that,
you were the keeper, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny, which is funny considering Xander keeping me in check. But
Yeah.
So there's a 1 year between the 2 of you?
21 months.
21 months?
Yeah. So
any other siblings or just the 2 of you?
Yeah, two younger brothers after Xander. So I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Xander. So I'm born in March. Xander's born in December, and then 6 years after that, there's Ben, and then there's Dylan, who's 8 years after me.
Cool. And what about them? They have any sense of adventure like you two both have?
Dylan, the youngest, he's done some pretty cool biking trips. He biked from Toronto or I guess home, which is like near Hamilton, out east to Halifax. And then he also biked around Iceland. But he's in engineering. He's like a student for life right now. He's like 10 years in and there's no end to it. Well, not quite, but he's like getting his PhD and stuff. And then Ben, the third, he's coming out. He's finding more of a sense of like adventure nowadays, a little bit like less before, but yeah, no, it's always fun to have everybody out. So
yeah, we're gonna see them on YouTube anytime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to do a boys trip, the 4 of us, but like things just get so hard, and like, oh man, like I was hoping to do a winter camping trip with them this year, and then like winter's done. I'm gonna edit these 2 videos and then go to Panama, and then I got back, and then I got like a few other things going on, and it's like winter's done. So it's like, actually we might be doing a bachelor party run of the Spanish River with all my brothers, and then our cousin Adam, who's getting married, and his buddy. So there'd be like 6 of us, and yeah, that'd be fun. So stay tuned for that one.
That's cool. Wow. That's it's always cool to hear these stories, man. It's that's one of the reasons why I started doing this show. Is I think I was telling you, Maxim, in the green room, it's this Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show has just offered me an opportunity to get to meet some really cool people and learn a little bit more, without getting personal, obviously, about the people that I enjoy and I follow on this platform. Right? It's really a privilege. Yeah.
That's very tricky of you.
Very tricky of me, eh?
Like I said, like I was saying to you before, I'm just so grateful for your platform, and you're a cornerstone to the Ontario and broader canoe camping community. You're a wonderful place for us all to get together, and hey, Dennis, you are appreciated.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It really does.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. So let's get into some of the other family ventures. I've been noticing that in a lot of your videos of late there. Well, probably a couple times throughout the the last maybe 6 months. You've had your dad out on winter camping adventures. Maxim, you've had your wife out with you too. Out there braving the storms. Is it always fun to get family members out and then to incorporate them into what you're putting on this platform?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's great to go with my dad. He's hilarious. He's such an easygoing guy, even though he's like up there in his 80s. He's always no, he's only 60. He's like 64 or 63, but he's always down to get out, and he's so easygoing, and he's actually pretty athletic, and he's always like just good company. So it's fun to have him out.
Dad is just the easiest person to have, just the easiest going person you could possibly have on a camping trip.
Yeah.
Very, just such a team player, not a complaint. So taking him out is very, very easy, and we'll definitely be doing more of that in the future.
Yeah. So like a lot more of that, especially now that we have like 10 canoes in the backyard.
Yeah.
You know what? I would say, boys, enjoy that, because it's always great. I wish I could get my dad out on these adventures that I do now. His health just doesn't put him in that position anymore. But
Right.
I remember some of the stories you talk about, Spanish River and stuff, trips with my dad out on these backcountry trips where he's right in his element, acting like he's Tarzan out there type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I quite literally mean with the yells and the whole 9 yards, right? So these are opportunities, man. Enjoy them, because
we want to get my mom out this year too.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's nice with people with my like my dad, not just because he's my dad, but because just the type of person he is. He doesn't go camping by his own initiative, but once he gets out there, he is very much in his element. He's just like us, but since we've done all the logistics for him, we've sorted out where to go, what to do, the know-how. It's more pleasurable because there's a little bit of freshness in that, and it definitely reflects it back on you as well. With different people like that, they just bring an extra energy to it, a newness to it. So it's, to answer your question, it's very, very much appreciated bringing family members along.
Yeah,
that's cool. Your mom would get out to the
yeah, we want. Oh, absolutely. I want to get her out on a canoe trip, and that's probably going to be like me, Max, my mom, and I don't know, somebody else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'd be great to get her out. It's just a matter of logistics, just doing it right. One thing I've learned with my wife over time, it's amazing how far we've come. My wife, grew up in Brazil, and lived basically in a city her whole life. And so the first time I brought her on a hike, I remember hiking in the Alps, and she was just confused. She's like, how do you know we go here? Like, what do you do? Like what do you mean we stop here? And, like, can we drink this water? There's so many basic questions. And she would get, if she get a mosquito bite, she'd get a big welt. And she'd just be very, very hesitant with mosquitoes. But now she'll go and have, we were camping in the French River a few years ago for her birthday, and you could hear the pulsating mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And she kept her cool. The point I'm trying to make is baby steps. I've just learned over the years how important it is to take baby steps, and how far you can get with just a few, just with a new camper. So
that being said, we're taking our cousin Adam on a Spanish River trip. Like, and we were thinking about doing it in bug season with wetsuits, or dry suits rather. So I mean, baby steps. I don't know. We're gonna throw him in the deep end with his bud. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's why I play a little game here. I want to see. We'll start with Maxim, because just because you're right there.
Yeah.
Analyze what you think is one of your favorite videos that Xander has put out. Okay. And you could think on this one too, Xander. One of your favorite videos that Maxim is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know what Xander's going to say of me. Of Xander.
Or here, how about if I put it this way? What video do you think pushed Xander over the top to make him as popular as he is today on YouTube?
I'm going to give like a cliche answer that I kind of referenced with Xander when a bunch of times when he asks me what my opinion is. I think that his video that blew up, the video that has 22 million views on it right now. I think now he's more technically savvy with editing and filming. I think he's made more impressive videos, but the thing I loved about that video, it was just perfectly spiced, right? It was just very perfectly spiced in the sense that it just like had a little bit of humor, a little bit of beauty, right? It was just like it was just very, very nice in terms of you got to know Xander's character without it being overwhelming, and you got the experience, but you also, there's nothing that was too much, right? There was no element of it that was too much. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. I thought that Xander did a very good job on that video. And I mean, the thumbnail and the title were terrific, and and he got lucky too with the timing. But I mean, to get a viral video like that, you have to. But it was very well balanced, and that's what I really liked about him. But now Xander's like, I'm trying to think of a video. Maybe Xander can answer, then I can come back to it. Xander's editing has got so much better. If anything, he can edit twice as fast now. He amazes me how fast he edits, how efficient he is editing, because Xander's got really, really good at knowing what he wants. Right, he has the video in his head already before he actually, and he's thinking that. I'm giving you a long, convoluted answer, but he's thinking that what the video is while he's doing it. So by the time he gets home, much more than me, he's kind of figured it out. And as time has progressed, he's become much, much better at that. I'm more of an editor where I'll kind of take a first pass. I'll look at everything. I'm figuring out during the edit what it is.
Right.
So, yeah. There's newer videos that I think are better, but that video was really well balanced.
It comes with the old saying, hey, the more you do it, the better you get at it, right? Because Xander, you do have a pretty stringent schedule of videos that you put out, like they're frequent, right?
Yeah, I try like 3 a month, but it's hard to do. Especially doing longer trips, you can't. So now it's just like, I think this year I'm really going to focus on just doing the big concept trips. So we'll see how that pays out. But then I think I saw something in the chat that just like, oh, my favorite's like when you just go out and eat a lot of food and do a mukbang. So maybe the simpler like videos are like the bread and butter that are always going to bring me more attention. But I don't know. For me, I want to do like the big ones. So I got a couple cool trips planned this year.
Yeah, people seem to want to watch people suffer, right? Going out there, no shelter, or sleeping under a tarp with minimal gear, and the 1 or 2 night survival type of things. A lot of people seem to like that type of thing.
Yeah, I think 2 to 3 nights is like 2 to 3 nights is like a pretty good. Like, I don't know, it's a good compressed video. One night's like not quite enough unless it's like a concept. I think my 2 to 3 night videos tend to do the best. And then having like a few like interesting things in there is always pretty good. But like for me this year, I want to go on big trips. Like I got a Yukon trip planned. I'm so stoked for that. And then I'm going on a few others that like I'm gonna be on a few airplanes this year. Booyah. Cool.
Yeah. So you don't get to escape this, Xander. Let's talk about one of your favorite videos of Maxim's that he
I guess the one that he put out, I think Frozen River Canoeing, Camping Without a Tent. It was just like an ice in video. He just like Max likes to film pretty things in the woods, and he'll just shoot B-roll. Like Max will fill a video with B-roll if he could, because he has a good eye for that stuff, and he's just like, ooh, pretty thing, and he just like he gets really amazing imagery. But it like sometimes I find that his videos might need a little bit more Maxim personality, and he will neglect some of that way too often. And I like watching Maxim's videos when I can connect with him, and he neglects that very often. And I think that to get a bigger audience, generally on YouTube is like it is a social media app. People want to connect with you. And so I like the videos where I can connect with Maxim, and he's telling me something personal about himself and showing me his personality and his character. And then, you know, he can show some of like the pretty beautiful B-roll he puts in there. But I like it when Maxim talks to the camera. And I think, well, I don't know what people think. There's always a few people in the comments that are like, stop talking, shut up, like make it silent. But like those people, like there's few and far between. And there's also 1,000 channels that are ASMR. That are impossible to compete with.
There's 2 comments I have to make on that. One thing that I've noticed quite a few times in the difference between Xander and me when we're filming, just say if there's a pretty sunset, right? Like Xander and I say, oh, like let's go look on that cliff's edge and look at the sunset. This happened the other day, but it's happened many other times. I'll set up a shot, I'll get the shot, you know, and like it's of the sunset. And Xander will take the shot, and then he'll walk into the shot, right? So I'm more naturally inclined to sort of take a scenery, like a shot of the scenery without me in it, whereas Xander's probably more inclined to occupy the space in that scene. And that's kind of a key difference that I've noticed between our different, or just inclination. I'm not saying that either one is right at all. But yeah, it's just an interesting sort of, I'm learning how to and another thing actually I wanted to say about Xander, that I'm not somebody to open up naturally. I'm not the kind of person who is going to tell a stranger, I'm not going to tell a stranger, you know, my innermost feelings. Some people are like that. I'm not. Xander did a really smart thing in the beginning of his career and opened up in a way that I just wouldn't have. He told people about his, you know, previous addiction and coming clean. And I probably would have been inclined to not let people into my life. But I was wrong in the sense that, you know, I might have thought that Xander would have made himself the subject to ridicule or whatever. I don't know what I was thinking. But just seeing the feedback, it's overwhelmingly positive, right? And you see, and then of course it's like that. You know, you kind of give a little bit of yourself, and you know, people see themselves in that. And so that's something that I'm working on a little bit. Xander's naturally better at it. You know, it's hard to know when and what to share. So yeah, that's another observation about the difference about Xander and me.
You know, I find when people open themselves up on YouTube or on any platform for that much, without divulging too much, right? But like I think what Xander did there was a very brave thing to do, but it puts people on more of a personal level with your viewership. You know what I mean? They feel they know a little bit more about you, and you only give them whatever information you want to give them, right? So. Yeah, the facing ridicule or not, I commended him on that. Actually, when I first seen that particular episode that you're probably speaking of, Maxim, I actually reached out to you, didn't I, Xander?
Yeah.
Because I have somebody very close in my life that suffered the same demons, and it takes a lot to get out of it, and it's something you should be very proud of. That's all I'll say on that.
Oh man, thank you so much. It's funny because I take it for granted nowadays. Like I don't think about it whatsoever. But like I got a message today from a high school friend, and he was just like, you are like the big reason why, like you are like one of the biggest inspirations for me to clean up too, and like quit cigarettes and quit drinking. And it's like, fuck, or heck yeah, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I love it, man. Like I mean that's seen my buddy sober up from high school. Like, he was a great guy, but he had a big problem and kind of fell off like hard. And then seeing the person he became post, it was like I need that. So I recognize that in myself, that seeing somebody who is better themselves, it's like I could do that for other people. It's like, it's only helpful, like, to open up that way. It's
it really is helpful. Yeah,
it only is helpful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to post a question here just before we take our commercial break. This is from Montaigne, Ontario, who comes up with some of the best questions. He's asking regarding spice and balance in a video as a content creator, is it possible to be all things to all people, or is it better to bring a narrow niche focus to your approach?
I have an opinion on this, Andrew. Do you want to answer it?
I was distracted, so yes, please.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I think that I think being all things to all people is a huge mistake, like a critical mistake. I think that one thing that, if Xander comes to me, Xander sometimes will like call me up and just be like, hey man, like, look at this comment that this person left, right? It's
it doesn't bother me all that much. It's funny most of the time, but it's funny.
Mostly funny, but at the same time, 99% of comments are absolutely positive, and then sometimes the trolls come out. Do you know when the trolls come out? I don't have many trolls in my videos. Xander gets the trolls. The trolls come out when you're doing something, like, you have a video that sort of blows up. The trolls come up with popularity. And so, Xander's not, trying to make everybody happy. Like, Xander had an intro where he was shaking maracas saying El Diablo.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the problem with comedy, right? People are going to find it offensive.
Yeah, and that's, I think it's a huge mistake. I would probably sometimes make that mistake too. Oh, what if this person thinks that? But no, I strongly, because like there's so many people out there, and if everybody likes you, nobody really likes you. You're just
yeah. You can't be everything to everybody, right? You gotta either people are gonna love you or they're gonna hate you, and you hope they love you. But if they hate you, well, you know what? Move on to the next video. All right, that's
exactly.
That's the best way to put it. Okay, boys, let's take a quick little commercial break here. Great chance to get rid of a beverage, grab a new beverage, whatever it is. I see Xander over there chugging. It looks like maple syrup or something. A la James Alos. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is.
Wolf Mountain Buble.
I had a pizza.
James Alos too much now here. All right, fellas, we'll see you in a short moment here.
Cheers.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Tonight's episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. Algonquin Outfitters, with 5 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Salis Marine, keeping you safe on the water since 1999. Ostrom Outdoors, custom fit canoe packs and barrel harnesses. Badger Paddles, handcrafted canoe paddles made to order. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. And welcome back to the second half of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show with special guests tonight. We have Maxim Budnick and we have Xander Budnick. The Budnick, I called you guys the Adventure Bros. There you go. Can we make that stick or what?
Adventure Buds.
The Adventure Buds.
Budnicks, I don't know.
So Xander, I have to ask, how's the bromance going with John these days? Have you seen much of John of late, or
We aren't talking.
no?
No, we are. No, I'm joking. Sorry. Yes. We have
Sorry, I was gonna say, okay, let's change this up.
No, we're good. No, John and I will always be friends. We're very different people, and that's what makes our relationship so great. We are planning a trip for June. He's out right now. I just messaged him on his Zolio. He's coming back tomorrow. So he's probably going to be listening to this on his drive home. So, hey, John, good to see you, man. Call me. We need to plan our trip. But yeah, we got a trip planned for June, and it'll be good to get out with the guy because we love him. He's awesome. John's the man.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's a pretty cool relationship that you two have. And I bring that up kind of just because this whole community that we have here, some of the YouTubers that we talk to and we hang out with, you two just come back from the Rat Pack campout with a few peeps that we're all familiar with. How did that go? How was the weekend there?
We were just out there for one night. Like, we got back from our trip and it was hard to turn around and get back out for another few nights. But we were out there the Saturday and then the Saturday night and then into Sunday. But oh my God, everybody's so chill. There was like 9 of us, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, honestly, I wish I got to spend 2 nights out there because you just feel at home amongst those people. It was awesome.
Was it a better location you guys had this year?
It was closer.
Yeah,
Closer. That's the benefit. Closer and easier access. So yeah, it was better.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It's awesome seeing everybody. Just like most trips, it's the hardest part is just getting out the door. But I knew I was going to be really happy to see everybody and get there. Last time I had such a good time, and it's just a nice time to connect with like-minded people, talk canoes. Even though Ontario is a huge canoeing place, there's not a lot of people who will talk, T-Formex or different types of materials of canoes, and that's kind of really, really nice. So yeah,
cool. So you're both mentioning you have a lot of trips already in the works for the new season coming up, the softwater season. What do we got coming up in the future here?
I'm itching, man. I'm itching.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
I got. Yeah. Xander, why don't you go ahead? Tell them like what you're doing.
everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay.
You don't have to let all the cats out of the bag.
No, this is fun. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like I'm revealing anything. It's like, okay, so next weekend I'm going to Panama, doing this like desert island survival course, and then doing like 4 days or something, like testing those skills that I learned. That should be fun. And then the following month, April, I'm going to Nunavut. I'm just Nunavut proper. I have a buddy there. His name is Mark. He invited me to come up to Iqaluit, and we're just going to film content around the city. Not just necessarily in the city, but I'm going to do like day trips and do like overnighters, like maybe out on the sea ice or in some closer areas to the city. Nothing like a big expedition style. And then May, we got Dog River with a few people. I'm like a little on the fence with that one, but I'm probably going to end up going. And then we have, I don't know, I might do an ice out with some friends. And then the big ones for me this summer, though, the canoe trips that are big for me this summer are me and John are planning a 2-week trip. And then July, I'm going to do the Snake River in the Yukon. Nothing is booked, but the pieces are all falling together to book like any day now. And then Max and I are planning a northern Quebec trip, which I hope can come to fruition. We're sending some emails out for that. So that would be a big 2 to 3 week trip as well. So I got like 2-week trip, 3-week trip, and then maybe another 3-week trip all all coming up this summer. So that'll be like my whole summer's 3 big canoe trips, which is pretty sweet.
Cool. You might want to tune into the Yukon show I got in a couple of weeks there, because it's going to be probably some great information there.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, at the Outdoor Adventures show, I was actually talking with Mark from Up North Adventures, who is like a lot of people go up there, rent their equipment off him.
Yeah.
And right across from him was, I think it was Yukon Air, and they got a package deal going, a return flight from Toronto, $800.
Oh,
That's like astounding.
that's really good.
Wow.
Sweet.
Right?
Yeah, I was just talking with Up North Adventures yesterday. Yeah, we were planning something. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's I think that's next on my bucket list. I did my presentation at the Outdoor Adventure Show on knocking things off the bucket list, and that there was a new addition for me. So I'm hoping that that'll happen probably, maybe not this summer, but perhaps next year. Right?
Cool,
Maybe
man.
a great 60th birthday present or something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. What river you think you want to do, or what? Like, do you want to do a river even, or do you want to just?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to get a little bit of river training in me first. A place like Paddler Co-op or something. But
Mhm.
Snake River was one of the places I was contemplating.
Yeah, or the wind would be nice too.
Yeah, or possibly just something a little more tame, like maybe, and I don't know if it is more tame, but just the Yukon River itself. Right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You can't lose.
Yeah.
Lose up there. I mean, probably some guy up there is probably not like shaking his head and be like, "Oh, you can don't do this river." It's like,
Oh, it looks so beautiful.
I can't wait to go to the Yukon. It's honestly, it's really hard for me to hear Xander's going to the Yukon and me not be. I'm jealous. I'm pretty jealous. Yeah.
I hear you.
Anyway,
Just want to pass out there really quick to everybody in the chat. I did post a link if anybody wants to come up and ask Xander and Maxim a question. Feel free to join us for a couple of minutes. All are welcome. Just make sure you turn off your YouTube volume and stick with the StreamYard volume itself. That's cool. So you guys, you mentioned earlier some inspiration from back in your days when you were younger. What about nowadays? Who do you kind of look up to? I'll ask you both this individually. Who do you look up to, or who do you like to watch on YouTube? Do you have favorite personalities that you like to follow, Maxim?
like at the moment, or who I'm watching at the moment. I watch a lot of Lost Lakes. I watch a lot of Jim Baird. I watch a lot of Canoe of the North. Doing videos, I find making videos, I find less time for canoe content. It's kind of hard to keep up with all my friends. But yeah, like historically, I learned a lot from Jim Baird. I learned a lot from Joe Robinette. There was a time when I lived in New York City when I didn't have a car, and I felt stuck in the city. And I'm going on a tangent here, but it's relevant. I just felt stuck, and I had that urge to want to get out and just explore. But I felt like I couldn't. And I watched a lot of Joe Robinette. I watched a lot of Jim Baird, and I learned a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually kind of emphasizes to me the importance, like it gives me, when I'm making videos, meaning for like, oh, this is a meaningful, that what I'm doing. Kind of a roundabout answer of who's inspired me and who still inspires me. There's a bunch of other people, that I watch peripherally, but yeah.
Cool. How about yourself, Xander?
I'm like Max. I don't watch a ton of outdoor content right now because I'm just producing it and I'm living it and I don't feel the need for it. But the people that I do watch are similar to Maxim. I've learned a lot from Jim and like historically, And then obviously John's my buddy. So I watch a lot of his stuff, and I find me and him are always floating ideas between each other. So it's like fun to see his evolution, but all the guys in the niche I love watching. I'll find myself watching like Marty or Justin Outdoors. I watch a lot of Justin Outdoors for whatever reason. I just like his like breakdown of gear.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's relevant. It's not just he provides a really good, like, what should I get? What should I get? You know, like, there's a real good. He does a really good job at.
Yeah, excellent job.
Excellent job at telling.
Yeah, so I might watch more like gear stuff in that sense but right now I'm watching every single canoe video on the Snake River. I'm watching and I'm dissecting the rapids, right? Because I'm actually like in the process of trip planning. But other than that,
I watch a ton of when I do. Like, I would say I watch more very small channels, at least at the moment, because I'm looking at all these obscure rivers, and you know, there's so many good so many good videos out there by a person who's done like 2 videos, right? But of this obscure video of this obscure river in the middle of nowhere, I've been watching a lot of just, you know, obscure content creators.
or I'll just watch like bigger names on YouTube. Like I watch a lot of informational things, and you just like you see the editing styles of people in different niches, and you kind of try to apply that to yours in a way, like in a format that's like good for storytelling. I don't know. Yeah,
we do have a guest in the basement. Red Truck will be with you at just one moment here. But is there you both are very good editors when it comes to putting out your videos. Is there somebody on YouTube or somebody that you follow, or maybe don't really follow that much because you don't watch a lot of YouTube, but somebody that you say, like, you know, really crushes it when it comes to their editing skills as well?
There's a guy who Harmon Hoke or whatever.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like, he does a very good job at silent hiking videos, and he's got some, just with his compositions are just so on point, and it's almost a little too clinical. I'm not to criticize it, but for my taste, it's almost a little too, everything is too pristine. But he does certain tricks where he's using sliders while hiking, and everything is very, very nice. So yeah, he's definitely somebody from a technical point of view that I aspire to be able to create films as much as beautiful as he makes. So or at least I have a lot to learn from him.
Right.
I wouldn't want to do it exactly in his style, but he's really inspirational.
Cool. All right, let's bring Red Truck up here on stage. Hey, Red Truck, how you doing, man? Cody.
Oh,
Hey guys, how's it going?
good.
Got a question for the boys here?
Yeah, actually, more of a plea. Matt for Xander, don't give up on your Forerunner.
Okay. So are you live in Ontario and do you have a welding machine?
I guess actually I do.
You do.
Yeah, I'm over in
Okay.
Kitchener.
You live in Kitchener.
Yeah,
And you can weld?
again.
Okay, well, there we got a guy.
No, I really love your the car camping videos the most. Like, that's kind of the stuff I like doing.
Cool.
And yeah, the stuff you went down to the States. Actually, I'm going down to Texas in the next year, something like that, doing a honeymoon. And I got Ford Ranger, 2005 Ford Ranger. So
Nice.
kind of a similar situation. Yeah, mine's falling to pieces too, but I don't know, man. I just don't want to give up on it.
Oh,
Cody, you're messing with Xander, man.
I know. I've like spent like 20 grand on fixing this car already, and it's just one thing after the next, and it just keeps breaking. And now it's like the suspension, like the towers that hold the front suspension, those cracked, right? So we welded them back together, put caps on, but now I have to like replace the Bilstein suspension things, which is gonna be another couple grand, unless I just want to go like cheap OEM, which is like $1,000. So it's just like it's just one thing after the next. It's like so hard to give it up, but I might have to.
But then how much do you got to spend to get something new? You know, can you
right? But it's also
budget with fixing it. But yeah, it's a matter of reliability after a while.
It's the reliability. It's like every time I take it out to do what I bought it to do, and that's go to remote places, it breaks. And it's like, so I can't. What do I do in that situation? I just like leave it. You know, maybe I carry a jerry can of gas and just fill it up with gas and just like light it up and like, you know, whatever, just leave it. But
I'm only laughing because I know how much pain you're causing him right
now. No, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, my wife and I did a trip just like you. Once we got married, we flew down. We didn't go to Texas. We went to Arizona and Utah. It was awesome. So.
Yeah, I like the security having a vehicle to come back to and not just being on the ground. And yeah, it can take you farther, right? And then you can just do like a little satellite trip from your truck or car to wherever. That's what I really enjoy.
Well, that's what we did our trip in this truck. It was awesome. The only problem with sleeping doing a road trip in the Tacoma is you can't sleep in it, right? But it had a great storage capacity, so we could just we could carry the wood around with us. We didn't have to process wood. Excuse me. We didn't have to process wood on our trip because we just bought some in town and we could just haul it around with us, which saved us an hour each day at least. It was pretty nice. But yeah, no, I'm gonna miss the 4Runner. I quite like that truck. It had.
I still can't believe, Xander, that your trip up to Wabakimi there, that it broke down and they actually brought a tow truck all the way in now.
I know.
I had to do some finagling and make some phone calls on his behalf on the other side.
That's right. Yeah, you were the liaison for that one, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
We promise we're not going to mug you out in the middle of nowhere.
Awesome there, Cody. Any other questions for the boys? Or
that's it. I just wanted to plead to save the 4Runner.
Hey, man, I'm not. We'll see. Right? Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody. Have a great night.
See you guys.
Yeah, that's cool. See, it's not something so simple as a truck. If somebody enjoys following you because of your content that you're doing for backcountry overlanding, I guess you could almost call that, right? That's
yeah, no, it's fun. I really like that truck, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Project truck, right?
Yeah, I might keep it, but I need a different vehicle that's more reliable. So the problem is I live in the city. I don't even have a driveway. So if I lived out in the country, I'd have one of those redneck backyards that's filled with vehicles. You know what I mean? Everything's broken down, nothing works. But my backyard's actually like that here. It was just canoes and jerry cans and and pulks. It's just my backyard here in the city is like that. It's actually like a redneck backyard, but it's not cars.
You know what? Funny you say that because yesterday I was watching your video on Canoe Daddy and you're outfitting your Novacraft, your camera gear and stuff like that. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, now this guy's a canoe tripper because look at his yard, man. It looks like a bloody jungle back there.
Yeah, it is a jungle.
This year we're going to build a canoe rack. I just got another canoe from paddle.ca. And a beautiful new skiff canoe, and I'm super pumped about. And then I'm gonna bring other canoes. We're coming on 7 canoes now back there.
Oh wow,
4 or 5. Yeah, I gotta get rid. I have that
backyard, right?
I have that Okio dagger that I got from Riley, who I saw in the chat earlier, but I'm not using it, so I'm gonna sell it if anybody wants it.
We gotta try it at least 1 or 2 more.
1 or 2 more times. I know it's just one of those boats that's when we trip, it's I'm mostly tripping in the bigger boats.
What we got to do is we got to do at least 1 trip to the Minden Whitewater Reserve beforehand, and then just take it there and just
You want to buy it back, Riley? That's so funny. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to post one more question, and we have somebody in the basement again there for another question. This one here is a pretty cool question for you, Xander, from North. He's asking, Xander once mentioned how important it is to get the shot when filming. Can you explain that in more detail?
Get the shot. Okay, I can interpret that. Okay, the way I interpret that is when you're just lazy and you don't feel like filling in the blanks of your trip and you just don't feel like shooting, you just should shoot anyways. I think that's what I was referring to, how important it is to get the shot when filming. Or when it comes to thumbnails, if you're trying to market your thing, just making sure you're actually spending time composing a compelling image that people will want to click on. But I think what I did mean for that is actually putting an effort to making sure that you're not being lazy with filming. My saying is I don't know if I don't say this very often anymore, but lazy people die. And ultimately is the more lazy you are, the less you'll accomplish in life. And that really applies to filming. When I find myself wanting to cut corners, I'm not it's not going to be the video that I want. And that shows when I'm hanging out with like a group of people. I don't like film as much, but when I'm by myself, I'm like putting in the effort to get the shot.
You have a more succinct way of saying it. I've heard you say it that when you most feel like not shooting, that's when you should be shooting.
The best time to film is the worst time. The best time to film is the worst time to film, or the worst time to film is usually the best time to film.
Yeah, when you're
like when it's raining, when it's pissing down, when you're pissed off, when you know, when the work starts is when you should be filming, because that's the most interesting part, generally. So
that's good advice I took from Xander.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, you think about it, you're going to get more impact with the actual footage than you are saying in the next scene saying, yeah, man, we just had the biggest storm. It was coming down like right. You want to show it, right? You don't want to talk about it. You want to show it. You may be familiar with a YouTube channel called Whistling Diesel.
Yeah.
Very popular, millions and millions of subscribers. And I think his name is Cody too. And he actually talked about that one of his videos in his earlier days, talking about getting the shot. He said he'd hike. Well, now he has a film crew, but back in the early days, he would hike to the top of a mountain to get a shot down on his trucks or whatever, right? And not even put it in his video clip because it just didn't fit. But he still went to the effort to get the shot, right? So yeah, cool. We got. I'm gonna try and get this right. Atis, right? Yeah,
That's right.
Too. Yeah, how you doing, Atis? I met Atis at the Outdoor Adventure Show this past weekend.
Yeah, that was something, meeting with all my heroes up there, you know. But Xander and Maxim, thank you so much for putting out all the good content out there. I am a big fan of your videos.
Nice
I have a quick question. I know you mentioned before, and probably you touched upon that in the last question as well, about doing the thumbnail and the title of the video first before even filming. Give me a little bit thought process about what goes on behind that.
Well, it's like, what's the marketing of a video is probably one of the most critical parts of, like YouTube. If people aren't clicking on the video, they don't know how great the video actually is. So a title and a thumbnail are extremely important. I'd say the thumbnail is a little bit more important. So having a concept already in mind for when you're going to go shoot the film, go shoot the video, you can just play, you can create this video that already plays for the marketing that you have. So the one instance that I have is warmest sleeping bag in the world, coldest night of the year. That title I've had in my head for well over a year now, since I got that sleeping bag, and I had the thumbnail already in my head, and then all I needed was to go create the video off of it. That was already set up. I don't have that all the time, and it shows, because I have videos that are not even just over 100,000 views, which, because I just have no idea what I'm doing with this. It reflects when I have a title and thumbnail already in my mind. Usually it pans out. When I'm scrapping stuff together, generally it doesn't do as well. But yeah, it's if you are thinking about it already, if you're already thinking of your title and your thumbnail before you go and start filming your trip, you're already ahead. You might not use that in the end of the day, but because you're exercising those muscles, you're already getting ahead of just going into it and hoping that things will pan out.
It's the exact same thing in songwriting, I've heard too, right? With people come up with a good, succinct title for a song, and then you place the title for that song in the most, the cadence of the chorus, right? And then you construct the rest of the song around that. What's the story? What's the, everything else falls into place once there's that hook, right? Bring it back to YouTube. What's the clickability of it? I can't say I do this. I have miles and miles of progress to do, to improve on this. But I certainly understand the concept. Xander's much better at this than I am.
Yeah, this is only something I've been doing the last year. Also, the video I spent 12 days alone in the Canadian wilderness. Here's what happened. That idea, I was going to Wabakimi. I'm doing this thumbnail. I'm doing this title, and I did it, and it panned out. So the video is pretty good, but people are clicking on it. So that's like the most important thing. And it's kind of hard to tell with YouTube. You don't know why certain things pan out the way they do sometimes. But you can more or less tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you write all these things down, Xander? Do you have like a book of notes to say, okay, I got to do a video that's going to relate to this
It's
nail idea?
It's all crayons.
Yeah.
All crayons.
Yeah. I write it out in blood. No, I got like a little list on my phone, but generally there's just like kind of goes unlooked at. No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, like, no, I don't. I don't have that many plans. Like I'm like right now I'm like have a few trips planned. Still thinking of like I got like Panama trip. That one I already got like a title for. And like the thumbnail. I got the intro already in my head. So
Xander's very good at that. He does a good job at he's thinking about these things. He's constructing the film in his head before he gets to the editing table. And like I've already said this before, but he does a much better job. This is why he's way quicker at the editing process than me, because he kind of already has a really good sense of what the video is. Like Xander doesn't even look at some clips. For me, that's blasphemy. You know, like I have to look at everything and just make sure it's not good, right? But Xander's not necessary. Xander's very good at knowing what the core, like the essence of the video is, like distilled and boiled down to what the concept is, and like, okay, what's the idea of this next video? Is like, get to Nunavut. Just like, we're going to Nunavut. Everything else is just kind of like glosses over that and just gets to the meat and potatoes of it. So Xander has a really good Xander has a natural sense for marketing. I don't, I'm trying to say that in a non-dirty word, but like a good sense of like what people will click on. He's more well endowed with that sense than I am, for sure.
So Xander, let me ask you this: how much of that is learned, or how much of that has been taught? Like, is this the stuff that you just, like, your formula, is it something that you just worked out in your own head, or did you get something from other inputs?
Oh, there's so much content out there. Like I follow like Colin and Samir. They interview creators. They're like a creator podcast. If you listen to Mr. Beast talk about thumbnails and titles and creating concepts and stuff, it's like you can just pull from that as well. There's so many people out there making interesting videos that have just like such a larger wealth of knowledge than I do, and I just kind of pluck things from that and just apply it to our field. And I'm sure like people do it. Like John does it. Like his Nipigon trip played so well because he's just like, here's the concept. We're traveling around the largest lake. That is not like we're traveling around the 6th largest lake in the world, or the 6th largest,
or then the second
Great Lake,
the mother of the Great Lakes. Like that was,
yeah. And we're going around the whole thing, and it's like that's really interesting concept that people latch onto right off the bat, and then he backs it up with like an amazing video, right? And he hits you really hard, like he's like the mother of the Great Lakes, and then he hits you with this whole intro spiel, which kind of gets you hooked into what you're going to watch for the next 4 hours, and people latch on to that concept. John does a really good job with it too. And I think it's just like you see somebody's thing. You just like when you watch content, just kind of look behind it a little bit. And you have to ask yourself, it's like, why am I still watching this? Like, what about this is so appealing? And why am I still around? And why did I click on it in the first place? It's like playing that human psychology game.
Something I struggle with. Sorry, continue.
No, it could be as easily as like, oh, I clicked on that because that fucking woman is half naked. It's like it's stupid.
Something I struggle with is that when if I come up with a concept, it just feels gimmicky to me. You know what I mean? And kind of getting over myself in that way. If I'm going, like, for me, it's just like I'm just camping, right? Like I'm just going and making a meal and I'm camping. Like, who the hell wants to watch this anyways? Balancing that for me has been tricky. I kind of need to get over myself a little bit that way. But yeah, the whole beginning with the concept is I think is really intelligent, and it's also it's an underappreciated aspect of success in this genre of YouTube is logistics. forethought, like not just where you're going to go, but what are you going to do, and that's what I think the number one thing. I mean, the not number one thing, but that the Outdoor Boys does really, really well is that he has lined up every single week. He's doing this, then he's doing this, then he's doing this, and then he's doing this. There's very little fluff. And I'm not saying I would want to do that, but just figuring out, having like a core and like there's an arrow precision of what this video is going towards. I think that's the driving force of, it gives the video momentum. It carries the people along into what's going to happen. Like, is he going to achieve his goal? It's very simple. And I struggle with it a lot. I really do. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the Outdoors Boys, because there's a big similarity between his videos, right? The videos he outputs now versus what Xander used to put out in Xander's earlier days. I remember when I first come across Xander's channel, it was all like quick little cut edits, right? So he would make a sentence and it'd be boom, bop, boom, bop, bop. And he would create his own sentence basically. And I find the Outdoors Boys, that's what he does with his scenes. They're short, concise, to the point.
Yeah.
No dirt around it, right? It's all right down the middle. This is what we got, right?
Yeah.
And it seems to be obviously a winning formula, right?
Yeah, he's always doing something really cool though, and his personality is just amazing. He's got a lot going for him. He's like he deserves everything that he has. It's really cool. He got like a huge fan base that just like blew him up on TikTok because he just put out content that everybody liked, and it's really cool.
Yeah, what wilders me, I'm just reiterating, what wilders me about him more than anything is his persistency in just having good ideas. It's just idea after idea after idea after idea, and just he delivers on it. For me, if on a weekly basis he does that. For me, as soon as I get back from a trip and I edit the video, I feel a little disoriented trying to put out another video the next week. I'm not ready yet. I could really up my logistics on that sense. So. Yeah.
If anybody knows how to put me in contact with them, by the way, I'd love to have them on the show. That'd be a cool show.
Yeah.
So, Atis, did you have any other questions for Xander or Max?
No, that will be all. I did have one other comment though. While out there filming, if you are by yourself, then you can set it up. You can get a really wide shot, like you said, someone climb up a mountain and really get a good shot. But if you're out tripping with another person who does not have a similar mentality of filming, then it becomes kind of a little bit of a drag because the other person doesn't appreciate what you are trying to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I was that guy for Xander's films for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Now Max would have to wait for me to film, and now I'm waiting for him. I can't even. There's not enough hours in the day for me to how many times I've waited for this man.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's funny you say that because dynamics of the people that are actually tripping with you, if it's a tandem trip or a group trip, you all have to kind of be on the same page. I know some of the guys I canoe trip with, it's like the camera comes out and you can see they just like they go to hide behind a tree or something, right? They're not on the same page because they don't even watch YouTube, right? They go, "What the hell do you do on YouTube?" Right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I trip with these guys mostly, right? Because they're also at the same pace that I am, or my brothers, because they get it, right? So that's kind of
it's the biggest benefit of tripping with other YouTubers. I was filming we did the Magneto one last year, and the Baird brothers and Xander, they were having a natural conversation. I was pointing the camera up, and I was getting up in their face. They didn't even flinch. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like you got a real conversation, and that's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
I find really hard to do. Hardest thing to do. Yeah.
Atis, thank you very much for popping on. Good to see you again. Of course.
Peace.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Take care. Yeah, so it's amazing, we talk about formulas and different formulas for success. And then you look at say for instance, Xander's style of editing where he's taken a week-long trip or an 11-day trip and crunching it into a an hour and a bit of a video, which is amazing. That blows my mind that you can do that, because I go, I can't cut that on the floor. But then you look at somebody like Jim Baird, who will do a 7-day trip and he'll turn it into 8 videos, right? Because it's he'll turn it into a series. It's how do you try and juggle that, Xander, when it comes to putting so much on the cutting room floor versus trying to maybe extend it out, make a seven video series? Or
I think like what would I watch is kind of how I cut, and I have mold growing in my brain, and I have very little attention.
Xander has the luxury of having ADHD. And so that actually helps him with his edit. Like, I'm half joking, but he has just short.
Half joking.
He has a short attention span, so that actually has really benefited him in his editing process. And I don't mean to answer for Xander, but I think that he has very little patience for long form stuff, and part of the reason why he just gets to the point.
Yeah, and then once you go through a video like 6 or 7 times, you're just like, that's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. I just keep cutting. And I just pace it to my heart, just pace it to like my the way I feel. And I got shortcuts on my keyboard, which allow me to cut quick. So I'm just like, cut it shorter. And then sometimes I go back on some old videos, like my Tamagami from, I think, 2022. I'm like, wow, I cut that up way too quickly, but so be it. I think shorter is better. And I think you want to leave people wanting more than having too much, because then people will go to the next video as opposed to like, okay, I've had enough of this guy. Right. And I think that's the majority of people nowadays. Majority of people, like there's so much stuff fighting for our attention right now that like, if my stuff is not quick enough, not that it should be too quick, because like camping is the benefit of like, it's like this relaxer. So it's like this, it's kind of more like a relaxing vibe than most other content. But there's a lot of stuff competing for your attention. So you want to leave people wanting more at the end of the day.
I'm still
hey, you got a formula for success that's working, so don't mess with it, right?
I'm just kind of winging this. So
the only problem is you need to get more trips in so that we can watch more of these videos, right?
I know. I want to, so that's why I'd want an editor, is to be able to do that. But like for the winter, like I kind of don't want an editor, because I'd like to come home and like hang out at home in the winter. I don't want to be in the woods all winter,
Sure. How much of your day is actually YouTube? Like when you think about it, you wake up in the morning, you're thinking YouTube right away.
Nah.
You're thinking adventures right away. What else occupies your life besides the YouTube game?
So last few weeks has been pretty YouTubey. Just planning trips and stuff. I like to hang out with my girlfriend as much as possible. She lives in Kitchener, so we'll go spend like a nice day out over there. And when she comes here, we just spend all day together. So I got like a pretty nice, easygoing lifestyle, and I can take time off when I want. But yeah, I mean, the last few days, I'm just wake up and I start planning trips, editing, and then I go to the gym. I go to the gym like an hour and a half a day now, because it's just like kind of my sanctuary. Like I love it there. I just have so much fun, and it's like my little break from editing and planning and stuff. But like I go at a relaxed pace. I'm just motivated. So I'd say I work like a regular work shift. It's hard to tell. Like I don't know what's work. I don't know where work starts and like just my lifestyle begins, because it's all kind of fused together. If I'm sitting there editing, that might be 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, depending on the day. But then there's also like, talking with brands and getting gear and organizing trips and stuff. So I don't like, it's kind of fun. It's all great. I mean, some editing is laborious, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, no,
I would definitely.
How about yourself, Max? Because you're not a full-time YouTuber. You have a profession, right? You're married, which these things take a bit of time away, obviously, from the YouTube thing, eh? But how much of your time is actually spent YouTubing?
It's phases. I like right now I worked a bunch last week, and now this week I'm finally getting to my edit. So yesterday and today I've really like for the first 2 days I've really dug into my edit for the James Bay Road. So yeah, it just comes and goes. I kind of do it when I can, as much as I can. I wish I could put out more content. Perhaps someday in the future I will. I don't have the luxury of being able to do it full time like Xander right now. But yeah, it's just when I can. So it just sometimes I'll work two weeks straight. Sometimes I'll, I'll work. I won't be able to get out or edit for 2 weeks. It's just completely random.
Yeah. Do you have aspirations of going full time YouTube?
Oh, who doesn't want to camp full time? I mean, there's probably
right. Yeah.
I love if I stopped a YouTube channel, I would still continue to film. I was thinking about this the other day. I find people have asked me a few times, does filming add or detract from the process, from camping? And I love it. It makes you wake up for sunrises, makes you, it makes you more actively try to pursue, a shot of wildlife. It makes you look at the tiny little mushrooms, and it adds so much to it. So, I would love to do it full time if I could, perhaps one day. That's aspirational.
He'll get there.
Cool. Very good. Well, keep pushing, right? Okay, we're at about that time there. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. I've been starring a whole bunch of questions throughout this whole time period that we've been talking. I'm going to go back and we'll go over some of the questions there so that we get some of the viewers' questions answered. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to post them. If you've already posted, chances are I've already started, so you don't have to re-ask. But we'll try and knock through some of these in like a speed dating type of format and see what we come up with, right? This is going back to like 7:30 in the evening here. So this is from Untamed, Ontario, and there's quite a few in here, I think, from him. Are there any issues or dangers associated with popularizing jumping into the deep end to a wide, potentially inexperienced viewership on a platform like YouTube? Whoa.
Oh, you're saying jump? I don't know.
Have you ever? Maybe I could ask it this way: have you ever felt threatened by somebody, a viewer? Like we've talked about the spammers and stuff like that. Have you ever felt threatened at any time through your YouTube career?
No, by like people. No, I have some fans that are like kind of weirdly like in love with me, like Manpreet. He kind of disappeared though. I tried to find him the other day. He's like changed his. No, but everybody's been pretty nice. But that's not how I interpreted this message. I think he's saying that jumping into the deep end, like that's something that I would maybe promote. Like just get out there and go for it is potentially dangerous to people who are generally inexperienced campers, and maybe they'll get into trouble by. I don't think so. I think there will always be people out there who take that so literally that they get themselves into danger, but those people are probably not all there anyways. So they're going to maybe possibly be in a bad situation anywhere else in life. And if they take that so literally, then
I would say like you can't
be accountable for everybody.
Yeah, you can't.
And then it's motivating for a lot of people because it's like some people just overanalyze things without just putting their foot out the door.
There's caveats both ways, but I think it's a net positive to endorse just taking the leap of faith and go camping. But I just say like, don't bite off more than you can chew. Like just do small steps.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we do say that. Right, like there are certainly dangers, right? Like 2 years ago, there was a new canoeist who drowned in cold water. Like cold water is dangerous.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And people need to know that. But don't paddle big lakes in the. But I can't communicate that to somebody. But just for that one situation, think about the 100 other people who got off their ass and and like really just got out there, like how do you make that evaluation? Like whether like, okay, you weigh the one person who made a fatal mistake versus potentially hundreds or thousands of people who were inspired to do something to change their lives. I would say it's a net positive thing. you know, to inspire people to go out, you know, and that other, you know, there are risks. You're more likely to get into a car accident driving home from work, you know, like no, the great outdoors should be explored, you know, and get out there as much as you can.
Sure thing.
Yes. Short answer.
Yes.
Evan LeFay's asking, are you guys still into rock climbing?
Mhm.
Yes, we are. We're not rock climbing nearly as much. We're going out. I'm going out to Vancouver and Vancouver Island for a buddy's wedding, and I will be doing some rock climbing out there when I'm there. So I got to kind of get back into it.
I was bouldering the other day, and I still got the strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xander, how do you stay so fit? You pull your sled and equipment, break trail, and Maxim behind you can't even follow, it seems. Yeah, well,
Nice, tricky.
yeah, so he says in the guys behind you. How do I stay fit? I don't know. Well, like right now I'm just like exercising a lot. I love going to the gym, and that's not very cardio based, but I don't know. I've always enjoyed just being active. Like Max mentioned before, I mean, I have ADHD, whatever that means nowadays, right? But I was diagnosed when I was like younger. So I just naturally have to use up energy. You know, even at this YouTuber meetup, like I brought a Frisbee because it's just like, I just had to like run around a little bit. I'm just kind of like that. I don't know. So I'm kind of like that Labrador or like that Golden Retriever sometimes that wants to like charge ahead, but I can also be lazy as hell. So I don't know. How do I stay fit? Yeah, just doing active, just keeping active all the time, you know? Yeah. Wanting it.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Dennis.
I'm on mute?
Oh, Dennis is on mute.
Oh.
Sorry, I had a cough and I put it on.
Yeah.
I was just saying if anybody's ever seen not YouTube pictures, but pictures of these guys in their past with their modeling careers, yeah, they're both fit. I used to look like that too when I was in my 30s.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Let's see here. Brent Tamplay's asking, what are your ISO trip, boys?
Dog River.
I'm probably going to the Opiongo. I'm going to do that at ASAP. So as soon as the ice is out, if the water levels are not too early, then I'm going to hit that up first. And then the dog. And then I'd like to do some Southern Ontario rivers. Like I'd like to do the Bronte and I'd like to do the Credit, just sort of warm up rivers. I'd love to do the Petawawa this year, like at peak flow. It would be really fun. I'd really, I'm kind of craving, you know, maybe recklessly just some big water. So yeah,
cool.
We did Petawawa twice recently. So
yeah. Maybe
I want to do some new stuff.
Yeah, I feel it.
What boats do you currently have, and what boats do you want to have? I have a P15, P16, and a P17, like Prospector from Novacraft. I quite like them. And then Max now has, what do you got, Max?
I have, I just literally 2 days ago, I got an Skiff Pocket Canyon. So really, that's going to be my canoe on the Dog River and for a lot of this year. So yeah, I'm really pumped to get that.
Is that their like Royal Light type of material?
Yeah,
Cormac.
I don't know the whole, like some people. Yeah, I guess it's like a Royal X.
Is similar to Royal X Light. Yeah.
There's an association there. I don't know the whole story.
Yeah. So I'm interested in that canoe too. Novacraft and I are figuring out what we are together, because they've been so generous with me, but I've also been generous with that, like having content for them. So we're just, you know, but that Pocket Canyon looks really nice, and I think it'd be great for the dog. But majority of the time, I think the P15 is kind of my bread and butter, and I'll use that for 95% of the time I'm on the water because it's such a great canoe.
Cool. A little bit of editing stuff there. Transformative Truce. What kind of software do you guys use?
Premiere.
Adobe Premiere. You too, Maxim?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was just distracted by that guy on
ASMR.
That guy right there. Yeah. Distracted by him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Photoshop, Adobe Premiere.
You use the whole suite pretty much.
Not all of it. Lightroom. Like I used to try what is it? After Effects. I used to dabble in After Effects and stuff. I don't even touch that anymore. I'm doing these animated maps for this new video, but I gave them to some guy on Fiverr because like I cannot bother to dive into that stuff. So
Yeah, I always thought that's a cool effect, though, for sure. Let's see here. Evan's asking, have either of you ever had a disaster happen while filming, and how did you end up rolling with it?
The Magneto one, Xander's spill was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like the only notable one that like Jim asked me that question fairly recently. Not that exactly, but like he wanted to start his podcast with something that was like the like you're in deep, and I guess that's kind of the most notable thing that has happened to me in recent history.
I've had disasters that I haven't filmed.
Like when you got that fish hook in your thumb.
Oh yeah. You were angry at me that I didn't film it.
Yeah, the time you pooped yourself.
Yeah, well, that happens frequently. So
Yeah, swamp water, right?
Yeah, that doesn't happen to me. Yeah, just to clarify. Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I said that has not happened to me. Just to clarify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I've wrapped my canoe in really cold water before. I just was being absolutely foolish. And, I was mentioning when I lived kind of cooped up in New York City for a while, from my experience, being cooped up and then getting outside is a dangerous combination. You kind of
that's when people start swinging the axes around and hurting themselves.
Yeah, you're just so
that's
upset.
like yeah.
You have some
Yeah.
energy to spend, and I didn't scout a rapid that I thought was benign, and it took me 3 days to get my canoe back, and I like lost the feeling in my hands. It was a real eye opener, and it happened close to home. And you make mistakes like that, and you're great. I'm super grateful for it. But I didn't film it. Yeah.
Our buddy Artem has a question. I'm just going to jump in here. It says, what's going on with your modeling career these days? Artem, what's up? He's like, we both met Artem when we were living in China together. I believe me and Artem actually knew each other on a trip prior, but I'm not doing it anymore. I just put that all on the shelf because YouTube's been so great for me. So I just don't do anything. I've been done with that for like 3 years now.
Yeah, I just do jobs occasionally. I don't put any effort into, like building my portfolio anymore or anything. If something comes along and it's worth it and it doesn't conflict with other things that I'm doing, then I'll still do it. Yeah, I did like a couple jobs last year, but not much.
Cool. Two more we got here. We got Relevant Traveler asking, Maxim, what do you shoot with? Your scenery shots are sharp even on my cheap TV. LOL.
I shoot with a Sony A7 IV, and I shoot with probably the higher quality things that I shoot with are the lenses that I shoot with. I shoot a lot with my Xander's smiling because I shoot with a lot of his lenses. He's very generous. He has a lot of extra stuff that he's built up over the years.
Thank you.
So I have 3 lenses. I broke a recent lens that I broke Xander's Sigma.
You have one lens.
Yeah.
You have 3 of my lenses. One is broken.
Xander doesn't use them.
That's fine. Like I got my setup, so I'm fine.
Talking about laziness, he's just too lazy to haul them around. I'll haul them around and I use them. So I use the 70 to 200 GM.
That's a good one. I almost want that one back.
Yeah. He'll have to fight me for it, but you can.
Yeah, that's the problem when you let people borrow your things. It becomes them like squatters' rights after.
Yeah, it's squatters' rights.
But with Max, it's like squatters' rights after like 2 days. So it's like...
I'm using
I'm joking.
On the last couple of videos, because the Sigma 1.6 lens broke. I'm now using Xander's 24 mil. What is it? 1.8? Yeah, it's a 1.8. And then
No, it's 1.4, dude.
It's a 1.4. Yeah, 1.4.
Yeah, nice lens.
Yeah, and then I'm also using for wildlife. I'm using the 200 to 600 G. Actually, I was gonna say, Xander, you can. This is the first time you're definitely using the 16 mil right now, because this is the first time that I see the fisheye.
Yeah, it's nice, eh? This is the 16 to 35 f2.8, and I love it. This is the lens I'm going to be shooting on like all the time nowadays. Yeah. I'm shooting on an A7 S3. Yeah.
I'm gonna make that probably my second camera, the camera that Xander has.
Yeah, this lens is amazing. It's
yeah,
so nice.
I need that 4K 120p without the crop in, and I need that low light ability. But anyways, that's probably answers your question.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we got one more here, and this one here is going to put us a couple minutes into overtime. So stick around with us, because this question is going to answer the question of the real relationship between these two. And it wasn't me that wrote this. Jennifer's asking, do the Budnick brothers ever get into backcountry beefs like the Baird brothers? Basically, she'd have a hard time doing trips with her siblings without arguing. So
rarely, very rarely.
We're much better now. We're both more mature. We used to fight more, but know what's the best thing for our relationship? The best thing is that we make fun of each other all day long. We literally just make fun of each other. We're constantly...
Yeah, that was like our last trip.
We constantly just make fun of each other. And so when we do actually have a little bit of tension, when I'm getting a little bit hungry and Xander's getting a little bit impatient, we kind of laugh it off. And that we've definitely, in the last couple of years, we found a way to sort of laugh off any tension when it does arise. You know, it does arise. I get hungry. I get hangry.
Yeah, Max has like hardcore hangriness.
Yeah, I really do. I'm fine, and then I'm not fine. And it just happens all at once. I have a weird metabolism like that. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, you know what, boys? It's been a fun night. It's great to learn a little bit about yous and a little bit more about the early days before the real successes of YouTube. You know what? Keep doing what you guys are doing, because I, for one, really do enjoy it. So
we appreciate.
That's all I watch is YouTube. So
yeah, we appreciate you too, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you. And I don't think there's any more questions.
There we go.
That should be it. Awesome. So most people in the chat here know where to find you guys, but just before we let you go, Max, where's the best place for people to follow you?
So just Maxim Budnick, YouTube. Yeah, just Maxim Budnick on YouTube. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram too. I'm not very active there, but
And how about yourself there, Xander?
I just use Tumblr and MySpace, but Max also forgot to mention that he has OF. And okay, now I'm not going there.
I was gonna make that joke for you.
Yeah, okay, but you didn't, because you are. Yeah, no, you have class. But yeah, just my name. You can hit me up.
And you got a really cool logo that was just put together for you too, eh? When's that being launched?
I don't know, man. Does anybody want to wear that on a shirt? Like, let me know, because probably yeah. I mean, having Xander Budnick on a shirt is kind of like, that's cool if you like that, but I don't know if people want that.
I would wear a Xander Budnick shirt.
Would you? With me and all my woodland animal friends.
I would wear the thing, but I would I wouldn't wear your name on a shirt.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you sponsor the show, I'll wear it here on the show, right? So it's,
okay. Cool.
Boys, thanks very much once again for spending Tuesday night with myself and all the fine folk over there in the chat. Hope to see you out and about, somewhere around Toronto or maybe in the backcountry sometime.
Absolutely, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Cool. Dennis, thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to drop you both into the green room, so don't go away, and we'll talk to you in a few short minutes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's show. And like I say, getting to know a little bit more about Xander and Maxim. A couple cool brothers, I'll tell you. They're the stuff that some of the adventures that these two partake in, and the relationship. You could see that they got to be pretty close, right? So that's all good. So just wanted to remind everybody that next Tuesday evening there will not be an episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, because this guy is going to be at Canoecopia. And for anybody that might be visiting Canoecopia next week, if you see me at the show, it's not that big of a show. It's a big show, but it's not that big of a show. If you see me, please do come on over, say hi. Probably have a couple stickers for you and a little bit of banter, but please don't be shy. Come on over and say hi. I'd love to meet you there. We will be returning in 2 weeks on Tuesday night there. Our next episode is going to be on spring ice out trip planning or whatever, something along that, spring canoe trip or hiking or backcountry packing or whatever it might be. We're going to be covering that. And then the week after that, we'll be having a show on the allure of paddling in the Yukon with Jim Baird, Ashley, and Keenan from Canoe the North, and a couple of others. So should be a good episode as well. Anyways, everybody, have yourselves a safe week. Thanks very much for tuning in tonight. If you haven't already hit the thumbs up, please do. Hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can hit that 6,700 subscriber mark. And on that note, please remember, everybody, keep the adventures alive. Have a good one.